frowning at my computer. Business was better than ever, but my relationship with Oliver had deteriorated. Mainly, I was certain, because of my failure to engage with his grown-up daughters. Ruby, 26, and Poppy, 18, had never even pretended to like me, still referred to me as the new wife. Irritated, I swept my hand through my hair, making a mental note to get my roots done. I almost left my skin when a female voice chimed, Hi, so sorry, the trains were running late, and I wanted to bring you a coffee, but there was a queue. I promise it won't happen again." I looked up with a sigh of relief to see Saskia approaching my desk, silhouetted by the rectangular window behind that looked onto the tree-lined car park. It was unusually cool for late May, and the glass was speckled with rain. She came closer, details emerging like a developing photograph. Brown hair held off a clear-skinned face in a low ponytail, cat-like green eyes behind round glasses, crinkled in a smile, full lips pursed slightly as she held out a cardboard cup of coffee. "Thanks for this." I leaned over and removed the lid before placing the cup on my desk. "You really don't have to buy me a coffee when we have a kitchen here." "It's nice to have a treat, and that coffee machine's a nightmare." Saskia's smile widened, and I couldn't help smiling back. I'd been resistant to the idea that I needed help, but had gone ahead and advertised for an assistant in an attempt to ease my workload. Long hours meant I was struggling to balance my home life, though Oliver worked just as hard these days and was rarely home before 7. After talking to Saskia on the phone, the first person to call about the job, I invited her for an interview, fighting a feeling of intimidation when she turned up, tall, slender, and smart in a dark blazer and trousers, her shiny shoes a contrast to my scuffed ankle boots. Oliver professed to love that I wasn't too bothered about my appearance after the groomed-to-perfection look his ex-wife Fiona had favoured, but I'd felt scruffy with my frizzing sweep of blonde hair, plain blue jeans and oversized shirt, which I realised once Saskia had left had a coffee stain on the hem. When I asked her where she'd come from, she said, "Finsbury Park, only a stone's throw by tube," which was an oddly old-fashioned phrase that had made me warm to her. "It's not a very glamorous location, I'm afraid." I was referring to the northeast London industrial estate where Classic Props, as we tended to call it, was situated. "We need the space for storage, so—" I trailed off, wondering why I was being apologetic while she glanced around with an interested gleam. "I actually love it already. I took the online video tour. It's amazing." Saskia was 28 and explained she'd had a career break to take care of her sick grandmother but was keen to get back to work. "I contacted someone she used to work with and apparently she's a brilliant organiser," I told Oliver that night. "She's starting on Monday. I've cleared it with Mark." Oliver had sold his share in the company a year ago to focus on his family's wine company, and his friend and former business partner Mark Bradbury had been forced into retirement 6 months earlier after a skiing accident left him with a back injury. Mark was still very much involved, albeit from a distance, and had approved Saskia's appointment. "It's not been a good start to the day," I told her now, and filled her in on Sally's call. "Don't worry, I'll arrange to have the chaise longue delivered," she said in her unflappable way, shedding her coat as she headed to her desk. She'd only started a week ago, but already it was hard to remember how I'd managed without her. "It's an easy mistake to make." "Not for me." "Thanks, Saskia." Aware of time ticking down to my meeting, I picked up the coffee and took a sip while grabbing my jacket off the back of my chair. "Oh, don't forget, I'll need a P45 and your bank details soon, or I won't be able to pay you at the end of the month." She looked up. "I'm so sorry, Nell. There's been such a lot to do since Gran died, clearing out her things, and I've recently switched banks and—" "It's fine, don't worry." I remembered with a pinch of grief how much paperwork there had been to deal with after my father died, and how it had at least kept Mum occupied for a while. The sorrow hadn't fully hit home until she'd been left with nothing to do but remember that he was never coming home again. Watching Saskia's long fingers move deftly across her keyboard, I let my shoulders drop. I needed to stop getting wound up about things and focus on what was important, my marriage. My parents had achieved almost 34 years together. I wanted Oliver...